All right, we are gonna take apart the headstock. So the first thing that we need to do is remove this stud. So this is just screwed in place. I will admit, I stared at this for about 10 minutes going,
too long.
How the hell am I gonna get this out? And Tim goes, oh yeah, it's threaded. I could feel a thread. And he just started unscrewing it. So this was kind of taken off off camera. Go ahead, Tim. You can start on that. Just explain everything you're doing.
Sure. So first thing we're going to do, first thing I'm going to do is loosen the bearing cover screws. Actually, before I do that, I guess the first thing we should do is loosen the expander. We got to remove the screws from the expander so as not to bugger up the expander at all.
Let's get this off too first,
okay,
before we do anything, so this doesn't keep slapping around.
So that's held in place with these two. No, we're good. Do you have the L?
Yeah.
Allens. Okay, I'll get these set screws out here. Thank you, sir. You can never have too many hex keys.
This spindle actually feels really good.
That's what I think.
My prediction is that there'll be minimal to no scoring on the spindle at all.
That's a wild ass guess.
Famous last words, right?
I hope you're right.
Let me get a little cup so we
Another
can put all
hex.
our screws and whatnot in. Got a little cup there.
There we go.
Right, so
I'm going to put these set screws back inside the casting.
You know what?
I
hate to undo your work. Take them out because I'm gonna put all the screws in that little cup there.
Okay.
Because we're gonna send them off to get cleaned soon enough.
This is a fasteners and ultrasonics go hand in hand. That it's my favorite use of the ultrasonic is fasteners.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about with nuts and bolts is typically you would segregate.
Brass shoes.
There's what?
Brass shoes. Right there and right there.
Okay.
I don't know how you want to get those out.
Well, we'll pull the screws out first and we'll see.
This one's not coming.
So typically, you know, you would get all your fasteners and you'd put them in baggies and label them and take tons of pictures and everything. And believe me when I tell you that that's what I'm suggesting that you do, is take a lot of photos if you're doing a lathe like this. I know where most of these things go. So I'm not really so keen on, you know, putting them in separate baggies and stuff, because really when I send the nuts and bolts to go for cleaning and degreasing, I'm doing them all at once. And honestly, Tim, I might even combine the nuts and bolts and lots of parts and gears all into one big wash tub.
Yep, I would. If it's a new machine that you're doing and you're unsure, one thing that you can do is you can take all your nuts and bolts from the one sub-assembly and line them all up on a table, right, with a bright background, and just take a picture of that.
Yeah.
Because then you'll know that those parts go to that particular sub-assembly. But you're totally right. If you are cleaning nuts and bolts and you're cleaning them as a sub-assembly individually, you're just wasting your time. You gotta clean them in bulk.
Yeah. Let me get a screwdriver. I'm gonna see if the screwdriver fits. Nah. All right.
Do you want to hammer out that taper pin before you remove the back gear?
This guy, yeah. Oh God, I knew we couldn't escape it for too long. It's taper pin time. All right, so obviously this is the side that we're not going to hit on, because this is the rounded side that they tapped it in. So we're going to be punching it through this, and on the other side of this taper pin, it's a little bit recessed, so that you know where you're going. So let me go fetch some pins, some punch out pins.
Get it ready. A tapered pin is tapered, meaning one side's bigger than the other. Make sure you always hit it from the small side.
And it definitely makes sense to find, there we go, find a pin that's going to be sized as best as possible. Now what I did is, you could probably see some of these right here. These are some old Starrett ones that I had in a set. These were really fine. And through use and abuse, the ends get bent, boogered up. So what I do is I cut them off, grind them off, and then make them as starter pins. So I have this one. This looks like it's going to fit pretty good here. Maybe I could even find a fatter one. Yeah, that one fits a little bit better. Here we go. First taper pin. Oh yeah!
This machine has been so easy.
So forgiving. Knock on wood. All right.
I hope that it continues. I would just.
I'm not going to force that just yet.
There's another one here, and then you got to hammer it this way out.
I'm not done yet, so I'm not out of the woods yet. So we have another one over here. And again, you want the fattest pin that you could find, which is going to give you the most contact for your money. In fact, I have it better.
Are you sure that's the smallest one?
Mm-hmm. That's countersunken in. If you look on the other side, it's sticking
yeah,
right out.
yeah. You are right.
Now, I'm going to choke up on this a little bit so I don't actually drive my pin into the hole. See, it almost did, but that one came right out as well. I don't know where the pin went, but it's out. Oh, first off, need a small wrench. Everybody out there, you guys want to place bets and see what the spindle is going to look like? What condition it is, rated from 1 to 10?
I gotta throw a bet in.
All right.
Well, you already picked perfect condition.
Perfect. I'm going with perfect. Call me a dreamer. Call me optimistic.
The oil reservoirs were completely empty, and the machine is super greasy. So I'm gonna say
I'm not making a good case, am I?
Well, I think you might be right, and considering the luck that the machine has had so far, I think you have a good chance. But I'm gonna give it a couple lines of scoring on both sides.
All right. Tim says there's going to be some scoring. So what we're doing next here is there's some adjustments on this side here, and I'm going to swing this guy around to show you. This is for adjusting the mesh tension for when you throw it in back gear, and it has a locking nut on it, which we're just, man, everything is so loose. I promise you we didn't do any of this off camera, except what we indicated.
Except what we did do off
Except this one piece, yeah.
But this is not off camera.
Yeah, so this is meshing stuff. I know on your lathe, Tim, this is giving you a lot of problems. On your heavy 10, it's
the spring lock or this spring tension device doesn't seem to be working at all, and I actually have to lock my back gear every time I engage it, or else it'll just pop out.
Yeah.
So I think that it might be due to a lot of excessive gear lash.
I'm just removing the nut from this.
Or excessive gear clearance, and it just vibrates itself out. I'm not really sure. My machine is pretty well beat up, but I did regrind and scrape in what I could. But the gearbox needs to be rebuilt, and the end gears need to be rebuilt for sure.
We'll throw some pictures up of Tim's lathe. Every time we refer to Tim's lathe, we'll throw some pictures up. So it's like he's like a little friend who'll be here with us because his lathe is beautiful.
And it's only, what, I think I'm like maybe 8 miles away. I'm not that far away.
See, what do you mean?
Distance.
Oh yeah, Tim's very, very close to me. All right, so this guy is coming out now. That's why she wasn't coming out before.
Makes sense.
Of course. So we're gonna pull this back gear shaft out. I'm trying to muscle it out, and it's
drift.
Yeah. Drift, drift, drift.
Do you have your hammer or a good hammer?
Yeah.
Oh, too big.
In the rollaway, Tim,
yep.
the bottom drawer. So we're gonna use this to tap it out. The shaft is coming out beautifully, but this handle is just so gummed up. Oh, man. I've run out of distance.
Do you have any brass stock?
No. Brass stock?
What's
brass stock?
Brass rod stock.
Yeah, honestly, I'll use that. This is a non-exposed area. So I'm gonna just kind of use this to tap it along. There's no resistance, but I just can't get it out by by hand. Well, no, I could use the drift on it a little bit. My extension from my drift pin. Boink. There we go. Alright. So we have this part out now. And
that should separate at this point.
See, it's starting to turn. There we go.
Alright.
Alright, so we got these parts done. Just set that to the side. All right, the main event is coming up in minutes. Back gear. All right, the next thing actually, since we're doing a thorough disassembly, is to take this screw off.
That just covers the grease port, right?
Yep, it should have a fiber washer, which it does. Into the bucket it goes. And I never thought I'd be doing this again. I always say that after every restoration, that's it, no more.
So this is your third south bend, or fourth south bend?
Fourth.
Wow.
I did the 10, the 9, the 13, the drill press, and this. All right, so we're gonna let out the expanders now. So these, I think these are expanders.
They sure look like they would.
This is a 1956.
Well, it wouldn't be cast iron then, right?
It could be.
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the 9 and the 10 Ks.
There's one. Can't get in there. I need like a little magnet.
Are the washers stuck? Yeah.
Tim with the science.
So Brad has magnets sticking up against his the back of his lathe. All I did was touch the flathead screwdriver to the magnet, and that will magnetize the screwdriver, and then you can use the screwdriver to pick up small washers and stuff.
Tim also taught me something today. This is kind of neat about the my Kurt Vise. When you look at the end of the Kurt Vise where the handle is, there's a little tiny ground flat, like where you're cranking it over here in between the ways. And
it's
apparently,
like slot.
Yeah, it's like slotted and it's grounded, and that's where you're supposed to put your stop. It's where you're supposed to store it when not in use. And I said, very interesting. I didn't know that.
It's one of the fun things about working in the shop with somebody else, and I think most of us know that most shop work is done on your own, but being able to work with someone else is really, really a good time. You learn a lot of things that you wouldn't expect.
And it's just so much more fun, honestly. I don't know if I got... Are your eyes better than mine? Can you see in here?
There's a lock washer still.
You could see it, right?
Yeah, it's right there.
Let me get you...
I got it.
Oh, you did?
Yep. Yep, now they're both out.
Awesome. All right. Let me get a rag to wipe my hands. I need to get rags in general. It's a nice thing about having young kids is they outgrow their clothes, their t-shirts.
Hold on a second. I don't want to lose these brass shoes that are in here. Oh, does that one come up from the bottom?
Probably.
Yeah, I bet it does. Well, it's in there. We're not going to use it. We'll get it out later. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Okay. And did you get this?
You know what it is? I ran out of tap space.
Okay. Did you get the spring that came from behind it?
No. There should be a spring in there, you're right.
Yeah, it might still be in there. It's in there.
Yeah. All right.
There it is.
There's the shoe, and there's the spring.
That shoe is
Worn?
Yeah.
I can't get the spring out.
You got hooks?
There's a spring right in here. That's not a shoe.
That is a shoe, I think. One there and one there if you look. Because there was set screw on top.
Oh,
of
yeah,
these
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll definitely get to that in a second, but we have a bit of a... Oh, that's just the threads.
Okay, good.
All right, I thought that there should have been a spring in one of these.
Well, this one on the Heavy 10 definitely had a spring. I don't know if it does on this one or not. I wouldn't be surprised if it should have a spring, and the spring either came out originally when we opened it or
Just was never
missing
there.
Yeah, in the first place. Either way, it should be easy to
I'm going to check my South Bend documentation, the parts list for this. I'm sure there's a spring. I don't see why they wouldn't use a spring on their... It's the same method that they use for all their headstocks. All right. Time to crack open the vault.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What? Oh yeah. Take up washer. All right.
Better.
I don't like that at all. It's just dancing right off of it.
Yeah, that's stainless, yeah.
There we go. I broke it. So this is the take-up washer. What this does is it takes up any slack, any lateral movement.
And applies preload to the
Axial or
axial.
Axial.
Purely axial. And it applies preload to the rear spindle bearing, which is axial. So that's actually the take-up nut. That's the take-up washer that you're pulling off right now.
Which has very, very little forgiving room. Uh-oh. Starting to see some lines on there. That could indicate, uh-oh.
Let's see. Oh. Could it be the grease
Trapped something.
trapped some dirt? Yep.
All right.
Now, even if I win this bet on the spindle bearings, I want it to be known that I am not rooting for wear.
Because if Tim wins, we both lose.
Exactly. That would be unfortunate. Yeah, that's pretty scored.
All right.
So, on a not on it. On this model, the spindle slides out.
Yeah, you got
But you have to press out this
The bowl gear.
gear, the bowl gear in the process.
You're supposed to put a threaded rod through here with some pieces of wood, and as you crank it down, it pulls the spindle out. Because what's happening is this bowl gear is pressed on. Okay, this pulley cone is just slides independent of the spindle. So, all right, we're gonna set up on the shop press now. All right, we got the headstock mounted up onto the shop press, and we're gonna press out the spindle. Tim's gonna hold it. Well,
I'm gonna
protect it so it doesn't fall.
Yeah.
There she is. She just fell.
Yes, she did.
Can you wiggle it out?
No. Keep
Don't-
going.
don't know. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
That's probably just binding a little.
Alright, got it.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
And
We're gonna wait for this one.
we'll do the reveal on camera.
All right, let's get this back on the bench.
Okay.
I'm gonna take out the thrust washer here, which is looking. Oop. That's looking nice. No damage, no nothing. Excellent. This was a little.
That's the expander.
Oh, okay. Because they fell through. Yeah, there was another one that fell through.
Yeah.
Right under here. So these are the expanders that expand the bearings.
Really important piece.
Yeah. Again, I'm just putting them here. They're going to be very well cared for. Here's the bull gear, which looks like has no. There's a little crack we have over here on our piece. And this is just held in with a little clip, which I'll pull out in a second. We have wicks, because I've heard stories of people not having wicks. And let's take a look at the wicks. The wicks will tell us if I'm going to win the bet here tonight. Because I'm looking at my bearings, and my bearings don't have a line on them. They got a little discoloration from heat, I could see, but nothing too bad. Here's the wicks. These are called capillary oilers, actually. You know the funny thing about it? They're in beautiful shape. They're dirty, but you could soak these in oil, mineral spirits, degreaser, and clean them up. I mean, we're not gonna, but you can. Let me give you a little shot of the inside here now. So you could see a little bit of discoloration where Tim's finger is. That's no oil or very little oil, and the rear one is a lot better than that. All right, so the moment of truth. Tim's got the spindle here. You want to clean it up and show it?
Yep. So the spindle is really, really good.
Yeah.
Right where you could see the discoloration, I'll hold it this way, okay? Right where you could see the discoloration on the front bearing, there are some lines, but they cannot be felt with a fingernail at all, which is good because the steel is what you don't want to wear. So long as we can get some oil in that, the bronze is going to hold up. The rear bearing looks utterly perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really perfect. So the good news is
we have a great spindle.
Yep, absolutely. Perfect.
We have a great spindle, nice solid headstock. This is going to clean up nice. And again, for this lathe, right? This is not a high precision. I take that back. It is a high precision.
It can
machine,
do precision work, that's for sure.
but it's not like like a Hardinge or something like that, where you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars for something that's ultra precision.
If it was a Hardinge HLVH, we wouldn't be able to disassemble it as easily either. Those things are pretty impressive.
Yeah. So that's the good news. We are done with the headstock for the most part. We're gonna get all these parts into oil. The last thing, I mean, there's two little tiny shoes. We should take them out. But let me just grab this little clip and get this clip out. This holds the, let me get this and put this over here, keep it nice. This little clip holds this bullpen in here. So this thing wraps over here and there's a little tiny groove in the top there, and then this locates inside that groove, and then, you know, it's held into place with this. So we'll take these pliers, and it does have to be bent out just slightly, just to get it out. Okay, and then there we go. Goes into the thing. And then here's our bullpen. Bull gear, spindle, casting. This thing is filthy dirty. I'm going to take some photographs of this, definitely for the before and after shots.
Do the bronze bushings get pushed out, or they slide out? Okay. Yeah, because you don't want to degrease with those inside of them. Those you can just clean by hand. So what you want to look, when you do this on your own, if someone did it wrong, what can happen, actually on this one I don't think it's the case, but you just want to make sure that the expander nests well with the bearing.
Yeah, they could be really boogered up and totally hosed.
Yeah, it's a really important part of the bearing mechanism and the way it all works, and ensuring that it has adequate support for the journal and for oil.
So we're going to just take a couple of photos here so we could, yeah, these.
Too late.
No, these, yeah, I mean, this goes this way. It can't be misorientated.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
For the safety of
It's
your
fine,
spindle.
everyone, it's fine.
Oh, Lord.
I'll move them out of the way. Super hardened steel beats cast iron, apparently. What did South Bend call it?
Oh, some kind of like extreme polish or something.
Yeah,
or...
they had South Bend had a trade name to describe how the spindle was ground and hardened.
We'll have to look that up, and we'll put it in the, we'll put it, you know, in the as a pop-up. This guy's not playing very, oh no, it's playing nice now. So here's the bronze bearing. Again, no, you can't feel anything on here whatsoever. So these are in nice shape. Anybody know what these would cost from South Bend if you were to buy a new set?
Back in 1955?
Yeah. Or whatever, 60s, 50s, I don't know.
No.
Somewhere's around $1,000.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Um,
in today's dollars.
No, wait, hold on. I take that back. Let me clarify before the comments start rolling in. If you were to buy, I think like in the 70s or 80s, if you were to buy a new set when South Bend was still making, you know, OEM parts for their machines, these things would run about $1,000, somewhere's around there.
Yeah.
In modern times, not back in the 50s.
Well, that makes the $180 I spent for my new old stock heavy 10 bearings and bearing expanders a really good value.
Oh, absolutely.
My bearings were shot, and I used them anyway until I could find new ones.
You were able to get new ones?
I got new old stock ones off of eBay.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yep. My spindle was in good shape, but my bearings had the expanders pulled right up through them.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, right up through the top.
All right, I'm going to try to get these little tiny brass shoes out. Got one. These are little tiny, tiniest little crash shoes. And what they do is they prevent any kind of marring from the screw. Like my improvised hammer.
I do that all the time. The ends of all my T-handles are worn off from being used as hammers.
All right, we got this. I believe this is fully disassembled now.
Yeah.
I'm going to dig through all this sludge here. I don't know what this was. Oh, I know what this is for. I'm forgetting. There's a tapped hole up here on the casting. This tapped hole receives like the lever bracket for a collet bar, which I do plan to get for this.
Oh, for a call it
The closer?
Closer.
Snap.
Yeah. And you know what I also just noticed? If I had just seen this one hole right here, I wouldn't have known what it was for. But in this hole are the remnants of a rubber grommet.
Yeah.
So they had little rubber bump-ons right there for the lid to close onto so it wouldn't vibrate.
Look at that, and there it is.
Yeah.
You should be able to.
You should be able to replace that with something from McMaster.
Yep.
That's cool.
Very cool. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for disassembly of the headstock. That's really it right now. Next up, the next part, we're gonna take apart the whole carriage, everything, because it's so small. I'm not gonna break it into, the apron and then the saddle. Everything is gonna go on that because it's so small. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you're enjoying this. Stick with us. This is gonna turn out to be one really nice machine.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate being here.
All right.